Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what everyday skill becomes suspicious if you're too good at it? Remembering things about people. I've lied about not knowing things to not seem like a creep. Dude, I do this all the time. I don't wanna seem like a creep either, I just have a good memory. I have a horrible memory but will remember really random things people tell me for years. Remembering someone else's schedule. I used to be an executive assistant to many people with specific wants and needs. I got really good at remembering what people liked based not only on what they would tell me but also the things they would do and how they'd react. I eventually became the guy that takes care of things before they become a problem. Sometimes it can be a superpower, but other times people get weirded out by it. Man, you could play Stardew Valley without 22 villager wiki tabs open. Walking with minimal sound. I creep up on people all the time. I don't mean to, but I make almost no sound when I walk. I'm the same way. I make my wife scream all the time by walking into a room without her noticing. It happens so often that when our son was somewhere between 1 to 2, he also started screaming whenever I walked into a room. He just thought it was a thing we did in our family. It happens to other people outside of home too. I start talking to people and they jump out of their skin. I do this too, but I'm also 6'2" and built like a skeleton, so it contributes to a lot of unintentional jump scares. Same. I clip my keys to my belt loop in public, so people can hear me and not be startled / run into me. There was a restaurant in a Hyatt hotel that had a casino. The waiter from that restaurant remembered our preference when we showed up with a friend 6 months later. You guys were either amazingly awesome restaurant patrons, or a freak nightmare. I'm a former waitress / bartender turned RN. The same happens with patients. I compare seeing patients in medicine to being a waiter all the time. The two are so similar it's uncanny. There was a Greek bartender at this whiskey bar in my hometown that would do the same thing. Every time I came in I looked different. He still remembered my drink. First time I was on my Harley, so I looked like a biker. Second time was a date a few months later, so I was dressed nicer and my beard was better groomed. Third time was probably just standard issue blue jeans and white t-shirt, again a couple of months later. No matter what I was wearing or which girl I was with, or how much time passed, I'd sit down at the bar and he'd look at me for a few seconds like he was digging through his memory, and say old-fashioned right. That dude was eerily good at that and cool as shit. Are you sure you don't just look like a guy that wants an old-fashioned? I mean, an old-fashioned is a pretty good bet in general. Especially in a whiskey bar. Counting bills quickly. Learned when in Uzbekistan, a place where the highest denomination was 1,000 but a meal at a restaurant cost 20 to 30k. I bartended in NYC where closing time was after 4 a.m, so the quicker I counted out my register, the quicker I could go home. I can count a stack of bills quick. Retail management without machines can do it the same. The bigger stores have bill counters and weigh their change. Remembering oddly specific details about someone's past. I tend to remember odd shit people say for years. It tends to freak people out. The worst reactions are when someone was just making up something for a story and have no memory of saying it in the first place. This is me. I remember conversations, jokes, dates, hangouts, text messages, meme exchanges and on, and it is weird when ages has passed and I make a joke or say hey like that time we were talking about. And they have zero idea because it was literally 18 months ago. I have also bought gifts for people based on this stuff and they just end up confused and not sure of the relevance. Being able to quickly convert between ounce and gram. Extended version always referring to kilograms as keys. 16 ounces to a pound, 20 more to a key. I had a co-worker who could weigh out items in the deli accurately to the ounce by hand. Said it's a skill from another line of work. After working in a pizza place forever and weighing duff balls out every morning, I probably don't need a scale anymore these days either. I have a friend who could memorize numbers ESP plates of vehicles. He'd then be able to recall it after months in totally random conversations. Edit, never thought this would blow up like this. Many people asked how we'd know he wasn't bluffing. Here is the thing, I know this guy from college. You can imagine how all of us would have gone to lengths to verify such things. Also, it works out to be useful in many situations and he'd buy somewhat of a personal Google for a few of us. Like, hey, I can't seem to remember this guy's number. Do you remember? So when I was young and bored on car trips, my mom would always try to get me to play the license plate game. TPE tape, TP, Tsykery, timpani. Mom, timpani is with an I not an E, you missed type, tampode. Turns out the reason Mom was so obscenely good at the game that she could referee it instantly and near perfectly is that apparently she is playing it basically at all times just without saying anything about it. But if something goes down, there is a near 100% chance Mom will know the license plate of the car in question. She has proven this way too many times. Tampode sounds like a drink for vampires. My aunt taught me a game that involved making names or phrases out of the letters. Like CPK 178, Charles Patrick Kerry is doing 178 miles per hour. Or teaspoon 345, train spotted passing at 3:45. That was more than 20 years ago, and sometimes I'll catch myself playing when on a long road trip. Noticing cameras. A friend of mine does that. He can point out any camera in public spaces. I developed a similar skill while playing Ingress. Portals are everywhere. Strep throat tests. Used to get strep a lot as a kid, so by the time I was tested for it as a 20-year-old I had the process down. They stick in the big popsicle stick to hold down your tongue and then they swab the back of your throat while you try not to gag. Well, I happened to be tested by a relatively new, young, attractive doctor this particular time, and when he complimented me on doing well on the test and not gagging, my response was, "Thanks, I've had practice." If not suspicious, it was at the very least mortifying after realizing the implication of what I said. Haha, as a nurse who has performed these, any adult that could do a throat swab with zero gag, cough, or flinch always made me wonder. Reminds me of 6th grade lunch when a guy proved to us that he had no gag reflex by repeatedly ramming a breadstick down his throat. His face started turning red and everything. The best part is that no one ever questioned his gag reflex in the first place, and I think he just wanted to show off, lol. I've forgotten my apartment key to the point that I can pick my own lock. People find that suspicious. So you would remember to take your lockpick kit with you, but not your keys. A lockpick kit works on a lot of doors, but their key will only open the one. Being able to recognize pills. No, I'm not a drug dealer, I just work in a pharmacy and some of them are very recognizable. Pharmacists are just licensed drug dealers. Remembering things about them they forgot. I told my friend I was getting a job at a store we know. She told me, "I think I've been there before." Then I told she has, and I repeated the conversation we had, word for word. I got some weird looks from her, lol. I'm good at stuff like that. My friend and I were talking about a hike and I mentioned that we have already done it. She said we hadn't yet. So I told her the approximate date, what we did before and after, what we talked about on it, etc. If you asked me what I had for dinner yesterday, I would struggle. Staying calm. I didn't think of this answer, but it's a really good one. I've heard the phrase "how are you so calm about this?" on more than a few occasions. It's kinda awkward being the stoic during funerals. The trick is being so overwhelmingly numb and devoid of emotion that you just aren't invested in the outcome. Getting kids to trust me within seconds of meeting me. PED nurse. That seems like a useful skill to have, but there's no way I'm going to have how to get kids to trust me within seconds of meeting me in my Google search history. In case anyone is genuinely interested. Kids are smarter than adults take them for, and have a keen sense of when someone is only interacting with them out of enlightened self-interest. The main way to get kids to trust you is to interact with them with respect to their agency, and for them to understand that all of your interactions with them are only for their best interest. Kids can totally pick up on the vibes of people who see them as like cute stuffed animals or whatever rather than humans who deserve a level of respect. Source: experience as head lifeguard, digital English tutor and karate instructor. *FBI has found new suspect of interest*. Ms. Excel. I found that by taking over reporting from others because it took them so much time. I'd automate it to pull from the database where the previous owner was spending 2 hours a day copy/paste hundreds of cells. A couple hours work once and I hit a button. Done. I'd use to release right away, even with a script to open, refresh, save, and email it. This caused people to not trust the numbers, so now I still pull in the data but hold off on releasing it for a bit, even a bit late on occasion. If you have Outlook, there's a function to delay sending an email until a specified time. You can program it to send your email out anywhere from a minute to a year after you hit send. LPT always turn the delay on for 1 minute if you tend to forget to attach attachments and remember the moment you send the email. Ha! I had a guy give me a stack of papers and say that these had to be put into Excel and their POS database. Said it normally takes 3 days. I laughed, scanned them all into PDF, converted to text and then automated it. I was done with a double check a couple hours in. He didn't believe me, so went through them all by hand. Took him 2 days and he didn't find any errors. What sorcery is this?